Ha. The Lost and Nico approved. Here we go. We're live.
Wow. Wow.
Hi guys. Tonight we're outside in my backyard. We're gonna do some hydro dipping. It's a concept I had where you can take like cruddy ornaments and make them better. That's where it kind of went from. But then I was also thinking really hard on how to make a skull from Scuba Steve-O. He showed me a photo from when he was a little kid, and he was hoping that I would make him the fish. I'm going to sit down while I talk. The fish, the ornament that was in his tank when he was a little kid. And James, if there's any way, there's on the videos, it's the bottom video, it's Scuba Steve-O skull that we're going to try to recreate tonight. And I also want to thank my dad because he is the cameraman tonight. Dad, you are doing awesome. He just gave me the thumbs up. Did you see a little kid with a skull?
Yeah.
You know, there's a big blotch of white. It says blood thinner and the time. I don't know what that is or where it came from.
That's when I'm supposed to take my pill. Okay, let's just dismiss this. Okay.
Oh, it's not showing up on screen anyway.
Sorry, guys.
Real quick, while you're
I have
getting
like
set
alarms
up.
that remind me to take my meds and stuff, and that came up, and that's all Dad saw. But I don't know if you guys got to see that with the skull, but let's
I popped it up.
stay right here. Let me grab what I've got.
While Ed's doing that, Skipper, glad to have you here. Appreciate you being our fill-in and other commentary.
So far,
person.
I have painted this skull yellow on this side, and it's straight normal color on this side. So what I'm going to do is and it's supposed to look like this originally. That's just a Walmart fish thing, but we wanted to get it so it looks like tie-dye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the skull, and the colors that for these things show up so much better when I spray it brighter colors than the standard. So I just want to show you guys, it's pretty obvious how I spray paint a
I know people are going to ask what brand of paint you're using.
All these spray paints are Krylon Fusion. Krylon Fusion is totally safe for your fish tank. So we're going to leave this guy here to dry. While we're waiting for him to dry, I've already done 2 terracotta pots. This is what we normally put in our fish tanks. I thought it might look cool if we dip it in colors tonight. We'll do one just normal and then one white, and we'll see what looks best. And we'll go from there. Can you pan up a little bit? Thank you. What I'm doing here is I want to wear gloves because all this spray paint is going to get all over my hands if I don't wear gloves.
Absolutely. Paul saying couldn't hear me well. Hopefully you can hear me now, Ed. Apparently my mic had swung a little bit far away.
And thank you, Skipper, for coming on tonight. And thank you, James, for being there. I really appreciate both of you guys.
You're welcome, Ed.
Okay. So all these different things, colors are Krylon. We're going to do the white one first. So we'll hit it with this water. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys can see this. I just shot it in just like that. And it's just going to stay on the surface of the water. I just did green. Pink. Now, the bummer thing about these sprays is the middle keeps getting shot. So the best colors are going to be on the sides. And let's go with the yellow again. Whoops, where'd I put my yellow? There it is. And then I'm going to go one more shot of green. So now I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to roll it, and I'm just sinking it down into the water. These are the first terracotta pots I've ever seen that don't have a hole at the bottom. But it's kind of interesting. And what we're going to do is we're just going to stick that there and let it dry. Now, I've got paper towels. I'm going to use paper towels to pull the emulsion off the top of the water again, so we can keep doing this. That was the white. This time, we're going to do the plain terracotta. And I'm going to hit it with different shades of brown. And maybe some black.
So Ed had mentioned before we started, he didn't know if he was going to be able to hear us because he's not actually got a headset in, and I'm sure the phone volume is turned down to prevent echo. But when he gets switched over and can hear us, we'll let him know about this.
Oh, that's got a lot of power.
Tips and things.
Yeah.
That's crazy, the amount of power in that can. That may have messed up all the emulsion. I don't think I'm going to use that one again. Let's give it just or how about white? Or gray. Do gray.
I love this idea. I've done hydro dips
And
before, but I've never
guys,
hydro
I
dipped
wish I could
anything
hear
for a
you.
tank.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try it myself. I've seen a bunch of videos, but never like a live stream of somebody doing. I think it's pretty neat.
I've done a lot of Second Amendment pieces. We'll put it that way. And it's worked really well. So I imagine it would hold up pretty good in an aquarium, especially if you're using Krylon Fusion, which is, once cured, aquarium safe.
No, that didn't stick hardly at all. That was pretty terrible. That didn't stick at all. I wonder if that had something to do with the one that was way too high powered. Well, that was a bummer.
As you can see, even when you're
I don't like how that came out at all.
Like Ed, you'll still run into problems sometimes. When you're trying projects, I always recommend just keep at it. It's great to look for tips and tricks online to find a better way to do things, but a lot of times it's just practice. Sometimes it can even be just learning how far away to spray something can make the difference between melting your styrofoam or actually getting paint on it, which you can paint styrofoam if you do it correctly.
Okay, well, I do this. I don't think I want to use another terracotta pot, just in case it needs to be sprayed to get the cool look. Let's try rocks. Went around my backyard looking for boring rocks, and I was shocked on how many cool looking rocks there are here in Tennessee. In Missouri, it seemed like all I had was ugly rocks, but we found a couple. This is a pretty boring. We'll dip it so we can see what. Pretty boring rock. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to add striations to it. And you know what? I'm going to start off with that super high powered one. That is so weird.
It's almost like that tip. The tip on it may be clogged, or the paint's
Yeah, that and I would probably, I know Ed can't hear me, but I would probably back off to about twice as far with that one and try it, just because it's pushing so hard. Again, it's just playing around with things, seeing what works, what doesn't, like Ed's doing, trying different materials, seeing what works in that aspect. Definitely, I wouldn't play around too much with different paint types unless you know that they're aquarium safe. Krylon Fusion is one of those that we know is. Plasti Dip is another thing that once fully cured is aquarium
Let's
safe.
see how the rock does. I don't know. I don't like what's going on with my... So far, tonight's been a failure. I did it earlier, and it came out perfect on my skull. I don't know what's going on, but my paints don't seem to be sticking well to my project. What a drag. Oh my gosh.
And that can happen. And maybe it's, some stuff might need prepped. So I have in instances
I
if
don't know
have
what's
a
going on.
surface that doesn't really hold well in a hydro dip, I'll hit it with the clear finish from Krylon Fusion. You can do gloss or matte. I usually do matte, but it depends on the application. So coat it with a clear layer of Krylon.
This
And
was
then
the
when
one
you
that I
dip
did
it,
earlier,
that paint bonds to that.
and it came out perfect. Just how I wanted. But the striations aren't working at all on this rock. I wonder if it's this light brown, because I never used the light brown, and it says that it's Krylon Fusion, but it's textured raw clay, and it's got a red head instead of the normal white, and it's so much more powerful. I wonder if this has done something to mess up everything. Darn it. I'm going to have to look that up. Well, I also thought you could do this with PVC pipes that you put in the tank, but right now, not looking so good. Not every craft is successful, folks. So what I'm going to do is the skull is dry that we painted. Let's start doing rainbow colors, and not that one. Let's do the rainbows, and we'll see if we can't get this to work. I don't know if there's something about the temperature of the water, maybe. I don't want white. But when I did it earlier, it was super hot, and it worked really well.
Yeah. So typically, I know Ed can't hear me, but typically you want to do it in like the minimum is usually upper 70s, but like an 80 to 90 degree water temp. Or at least that was the thing back when I was doing a lot of dipping.
Do you think he needs more paint too?
He can. So that's kind of left to artistic license. If you want it to have some show through,
I'm going to go.
You might be going for
This side in.
Yeah, see, that worked a lot better that time.
I think it was that other paint he was talking about.
The face came out. I want to get some on the head.
He said it had some sort of like clay something or another. It sounded like
Yeah.
probably screwed it up. Different propellant in the
Okay.
can. I mean,
Plastic definitely works a lot easier. You see it a little bumpy right now, but as it dries, it's going to get real tight to the skull. And that came out good again.
and what I would do if you are trying to do like a PVC, like you mentioned, I would scuff it up a little bit, either with a thicker grit sandpaper, or depending upon the PVC, sometimes you can get it with a really stiff scouring pad and just scuff the surface so that it gets more of a bond. Just like anything you're trying to bond to, if it's got a little bit more texture to it, it tends to bond better.
Use some emery cloth too, something real fine.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
help.
you could do that.
Jen, and whenever he did very well with the skull, it worked out good, and the terracotta pot that was painted. The ones that he didn't like previously prep, like that rock and the other pot, he had issues with.
Yeah, I'm not actually. Oh, so I'm in the chat, but I've got it all the way up at the top, hoping the super chats don't jump and disappear. So I'm not actually live in the chat. So I'm glad you are, Skipper. Again, appreciate you being here, my friend.
Well, this was the guy that I wanted to give away, but I don't know if anybody's really going to want it or not. We're going to let it completely dry, and I think it'll look pretty good once it completely dries. But guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to shut down. I'm going to go inside, and then I'll get behind the normal computer again. But thank you so much. Stay with the guys on there, and I'll be right back.
Well, it's resetting. Let's do some dancing.
That's funny.
All right.
I love that.
And this
Oh, shoot. I thought he was trying to cut the camera off. Sorry, Ed. I thought you were trying to cut it off, or that your dad didn't know how to cut it off.
it's totally cool. I'm going to shut it off now, and I'm going to meet you in the other room.
That is
All
Ed's
right.
awesome dad and cinematographer there.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. His dad helped him.
Yeah, they look kind of washed out. Kind of.
Let me pull it out of here. There we go. But you know that there are so many different variables. I think water temp had a little bit to do with it, because I know in warmer water I've always had really good success. And I feel like I haven't researched it forever, but I feel like that was kind of one of the keys or tips or tricks to it. But I definitely think, like you said, that one particular paint that he was using, I swear it sounded like he mentioned having some sort of like clay something or another in it. I couldn't hear him super well at that point. But even if it's just a different propellant, sometimes can cause issues.
Yeah, I think that was just the color of it, but whenever he was spraying it out, it was clumpy too.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like when it hit the water.
Yeah, well, he said it was a texture paint. He said it was some sort of texture paint. So that's definitely not going to. It's going to have some clumping, and it's going to have some like granules and stuff to it. So I bet as it was hitting, it was just the fine texture that's getting sprayed out.
Yep.
Was clumping into larger and larger balls. There we go.
That's just like the paint that you paint with, and then it crackles as it dries.
Yep. But again, really, I found one of the biggest things for any type of do-it-yourself or crafting is just practice to it, and kind of learning your own flow for it, learning the methodology to it, just getting a feel for it. It's kind of like most people that start out spray painting just about anything, they start out spray painting way too close. And they start out spray painting on the object, which is, most of us know, generally speaking, you want to start spraying past it and then swipe over it so you don't get that globbing up. You want to spray from, and it depends on the paint, but you want to have a certain distance. It's typically best for spraying most things, like styrofoam. If you do want to spray paint styrofoam without melting it, You want to do it slowly. You want to do it from far away. And you're almost getting to the point because it's not the paint that's actually melting the styrofoam. If you've ever tried spray painting it, it's the propellant that's in the can that's melting it. So if you get far enough back that you're almost getting dry paint onto whatever or onto the styrofoam, whatever setup that you're doing in styrofoam, a lot of that propellant has had time to dissolve before the paint is getting there. So that's the tip to that. That's the trick for doing styrofoam. I thought we had Ed back. Well, Skipper, how you been? It was awesome to get to meet you and hang out with you, my friend.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. Still sore with the back, but just moving with it. You know what I mean? Dealing with it.
Oh, I understand.
Trying to get caught up on some water changes. I got 5 more to do. 6. Hopefully, I can get to them tomorrow after work.
Yeah, I gotta do some water changes around here myself. In the tanks, and I gotta change some water in the live food cultures. I guess while we're waiting, Croto Half Moon had asked about my process for raising up the brine shrimp from the hatching them up to adulthood. So I'm still in the process of testing this. However, I've put in a lot of hours researching a lot of different people doing it a lot of different ways. What I'm doing in particular is, if anybody that's familiar with hatching baby brine knows, there's always some waste at the end. There's a little bit of brine shrimp left over when you cut it off before all those unhatched eggs get into your beautiful golden, your liquid gold there. So what I decided to do was I just took marine salt, which is actually what I'm using to hatch the brine shrimp in. Our good friend Tia Aqua gave me a bag forever ago. So it's just kind of been sitting for a while. I'm like, hey, I've got this. And I mixed up salt water just at the same ratio that I hatch my shrimp in. So I do 1 liter of water to 1 tablespoon of salt. And that tablespoon can vary. Usually it's kind of a little bit over. It's kind of rounded on a flat tablespoon. But I mixed the water up the same way. It took like 3 liters to do that. I cheated a little bit because I still have 1 saltwater tank that's 95% broken down, meaning that I hadn't drained all the water. It still had live sand and some algae in the bottom of it. So I cheated and I put a layer of live sand in there about 1 inch thick. And then I got some algae that was in that tank and I put it in there so it could grow out because I keep 24-hour light on that. That whole little corner has 24-hour light going. And then I basically just drain that last little bit of brine shrimp off into that container. And I'll do a water change once a week. I'm probably going to start upping it to twice a week. And I'm going to be going larger than that container, but that's just a starter. Where I'll just drain out some water and add some fresh salt water into it. In terms of feeding, what I'm actually working with is yeast and then spirulina. Now, there are a lot of different things you can do. Yeast seems to be the primary one that everybody uses. And then I'm trying some spirulina. But again, I'm also supplementing with having that algae growing. And because I had that Kickstarter of algae, it's growing really well on the sides of that container. And then that'll get moved into a 20 long, actually probably a 29, because I honestly hate 29s. So I've got 5 of them empty. So that'll go into 29. And then the hopes are on the new property to have just a big tub. A couple 100-gallon tub that I'm just raising brine shrimp in and letting them go through their life cycle in there. But for right now, that's all I'm doing is just using what would be trash to try and create something else. Because you know me, I love free stuff. So yeah, just a saltwater water change with some actual marine salt. I suppose you could try it in other salts because I know a lot of people, you can hatch baby brine in just about any salt unless it's iodized. But you can hatch them in aquarium salt and rock salt and all sorts of other salts. But I think if you're going to actually attempt to raise them, I personally, I'm going to go with the marine salt because I've got it. But it doesn't hurt to try other things, see what you can get going, especially if you've got a little bit of live brine that's getting trashed anyways. See what you can make work for you. I do aerate it, so I've got a Zist Never Clog in there. Keep it aerated, keep them moving around. I only feed at this point. It's like every other day. It's pretty much when I start to see the water getting clear. is when I know I need to get some food in there. And then that yeast, that spirulina that I'm feeding, is a liquid. So I'll take like my yeast, my activated yeast, and I'm using 100% spirulina flakes, and I'll crush it all into powder and get it real fine, and then I'll blend it into a liquid. So I'm not just sprinkling it on top. I guess I wanted to clarify that. But that's it. What do you got, Skipper?
I had never done brine shrimp yet. I'm going to be quite honest. The way I've just been buying it frozen. I want to set something up over here by the sink because I have one of the Zesses that Aquarium Co-op was selling. I did get one of those. I want to set it up like how Dean did, where I just have it mounted to the wall instead of sitting on the stand that it comes with. That's what I plan on doing.
Those are awesome. Now, if you've already got one of those on hand, it's definitely worth setting it up. Just like you said, mounting it versus having it on that god awful stand I think everybody hates.
Whenever it's on that stand, it's the bottom of it's so close to like the table or something, it's almost impossible to work with it. So it's better to have it hanging on the wall or whatnot.
That is absolutely the biggest complaint I've heard from just about everybody. Other than that, it's an awesome hatcher. I don't actually own one, but like Sean Peck's got one, and I know a lot of people that have them and use them, and I've gotten to play around with them a little bit. I'm just one of those. If I'm spending $45 on a blender, it better be for making milkshakes for the missus and the kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, most definitely.
But no, that's super awesome. And the great thing is you can vary. You don't have to make a massive amount. You can use that to make a small amount, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just thought it was a pretty good idea. And I never thought about growing it to where bigger, making adults for the bigger fish too.
yeah.
So that'd definitely be something to see how you went through all that and did it and how it worked for you.
And there is a video coming, and there truly is a video coming. I think I'm up to 12 videos I'm working on now. I had to push back the DIY brine shrimp hatchery video. Well, not had to, but I wanted to because Shelby and Grant were kind enough to send me some shrimp from the Garden of Eaters, so I want their unboxing video to be tomorrow's video.
Yeah.
And I may do 2 videos a week per month until I can get some of this stuff out, because I've got so many culturing live food videos and little DIY videos that I want to get in the open and kind of share the processes. We got an Ed back.
Yeah, for some reason my computer doesn't want to start.
That ain't fun.
He grows. At least he's happy.
Did I just go link again?
You're really choppy, buddy, if you can hear me.
Yeah, you're choppy.
Oh,
there,
I see.
oh, there it goes again.
I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm being jinxed.
You'll be all right. You'll figure it out.
We'll get it. This is the takeover show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a fun process, and I've gotten kind of re-inspired, in part because of the upcoming move. So being able to build that fish room, that fish warehouse of sorts, I want to have one area that's just a live food section of it. And so I'm looking at getting a whole bunch of these cultures ready now. That way, when the time comes, I've already got, a bunch of it already prepped and made and set up on hand. The vinegar eels, one of the great things about those is you can leave that culture sit for a year, on a shelf somewhere, and come back and still be able to kickstart it back up. It's going to prime in about 6 months. It's going to reach its prime and kind of die off a little bit from there. But even if you leave that thing sitting in the corner for a year, you still come back and have enough to be able to fire that back up.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, and then the micro worms are so easy. And the same with banana worms, which I've got banana worms, but I'll be getting micro worms as well, probably just to play with it because I haven't technically done it. They're both the same species of nematode, but supposed to be a little slightly different in size by like a millimeter or so.
Okay.
But you could take like one of those containers I was showing on my stream, one of those, like 4x6 food container, and you could make cultures. 300 cultures, out of that one thing. You just need a little bit in there to get it started. And then once it gets going, you're good. So real simple. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's definitely something I would like to get into, is learning how to do the live food cultures, because I think that's better for your fish, and I think in my eyes it helps with breeding and stuff.
It does. Last thing I'll say on that, and then I'll give Ed back his stream, is you do still want to have variety. So one thing that has been noted with microworms specifically, I've not observed this, but I've heard a lot of people caution, is that if you only feed microworms, you can run into some issues with deformities in fins and things like that. I saw it was observed specifically in bettas. So variety is a key even with live food. So I'll feed in one day, so I overfeed like Ed does, especially for breeding. I'll feed brine shrimp. I'll feed on days I do feed vinegrils. I'll feed brine shrimp. I'll feed vinegrils. I'll feed them the banana worms, and then I'll also get them a feeding of like I use the extreme fry food because it's really high in protein, and then also like smashed up flake, the extreme community crave. So they're still getting a huge variety even with live foods. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Glad you're back, Ed.
I tell you, tonight's been a jinxed night. I think I know what went wrong, because this pot looks really cool. I mean, really.
I like it.
I think you should give that one away.
Yeah, we will. We'll give this, if anybody wants it. I don't know. It's not perfect. I think I need to prime everything. And I didn't prime. The only tests I did were primed stuff. And I don't think it sticks to natural surfaces. So
yeah, I did mention that. I know you couldn't hear what we were talking about. That is one thing I definitely mentioned, is I will prime a lot of stuff with a clear coat. Before it disappears, I can't believe it has it. Rico Stan gave you a $5 super chat, said going to be asleep before the stream starts. I'll catch the replay tomorrow, though. And then also used his membership milestone super chat, but a member for 4 months, and said, always remember I was your first, Ed.
Thank you so much, Rico Stan, when you rewatch this. I really appreciate it.
You did have our good friend Xanadu gifted 5 Chattanooga Ed memberships.
Oh, wow. That's super awesome. That's super cool. Thank you so much, X2. I don't know if Chris is here, but Chris won the fish last week. He won this guy. And he mentioned also that he likes Dungeons and Dragons. So maybe we can twist his arm and see if he would like to be our dungeon master with X2 and me, and Rico Stan and Callie, and it would be a fun time.
That's cool.
So Jenna had a question. Jenna P 2005 said, do you think he's having trouble because the skull was significantly less porous than the clay and rock? That could play into it, but I would go to, if you're priming it like Ed does and like I do with a lot of things, if you're getting primer down in those porous areas into those openings, you can still get that hydro-dip to bond in there if it gets into it.
Yeah, I really thought the I was going to, the reason why I didn't use PVC tonight was because I was so busy today, I didn't get a chance to prime it because I thought it's going to be such a slick surface, it needs to be primed. But I thought the rocks and these pots wouldn't have a problem, even though I did prime one right before James's show, this one, just because I didn't want to have you guys watch me paint one white and one normal. But the normal one, it didn't stick at all. So very disappointing, guys. I was looking so forward to this stream for like 2 months. But the skull still looks amazing. And that's the most important thing. I think the skull came out super cool. And I'll be sending that to Scuba Steve-O. Thank you so much. Were you able to see the Scuba Steve-O little video I made?
Yeah, I popped it up there for him.
Awesome.
I did want to say, you touched on this or questioned about it in regard to water temperature.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, back from when I was hydro dipping a lot of stuff, like 80 to 90 is the prime temperature. Upper 70s is kind of the low end temperature for like really good success. So that also explains why you had better success earlier in the day. And I bet that water was a little bit chillier, even though you made it work on a couple things. And I would say that priming really helped with getting it to work what it did.
Well, and that I was shocked. I never used that brown before. I just wanted to a light brown striation in the rock. And I didn't care if it had texture because I thought it would still look good. So I was hoping to have black and white and brown stripes going through a gray rock. And that thing had so much power, it just kind of destroyed the surface of the water. It was crazy. And then when it did hit, it blotched all up. It didn't spread nice. So, guys, I will make a video probably tomorrow or the following day, and hopefully I get it right for you guys. But thank you, everybody, for hanging out and putting up with me. And thank you, Skipper, and thank you, James, for holding this thinking ship together.
Absolutely. It was nice being able to say bad things when you couldn't hear us. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
And you did have mics. Sorry, go ahead, Skip.
Did you happen to bring that skull downstairs with you?
It's right outside. Would you like me to grab it? It's literally 20 feet away.
The reason why I asked that is because with the light that you had out there,
Yeah.
you really couldn't tell. So that pot, you couldn't really tell it looked like that.
Oh, you couldn't see how bright it was?
Yeah, you couldn't because the white, like the spotlight or whatever you were using.
I could run out and grab it right now if you guys want. Let's do that. What do you know about banana worms? Be right back.
Nothing.
So, banana worm should be the medium between. Wait, hold on a second. There's 3 nematodes that are all same species, different size. I'm trying to remember what they are to add some stuff we didn't talk about here, since we just talked about the live foods. I don't remember what all 3 of them are, but I will say, yeah, that is it. No, it's not. It's banana worms, microworms, and then there's a third worm. Somebody help me out here. Oh goodness! Hey, Leslie again to ask about banana worms in the industry. I've never heard of them. Yeah, so they are just they're a nematode, right there with microworms, which most people have heard of. Not that everybody has, but they run under the same premise in terms of raising them or culturing them. It's real simple. It just requires. There are different meats. Some people use oatmeal or oats, which the person I got my starter from actually uses oats. I transitioned them over to mashed potatoes because the potatoes I had heard had less smell, and to me they really do. But it's just whatever you decide to go with. So we'll say potatoes because that's what I've got, and then some yeast, and you're pretty much set. And then some people go out as far as like 6 weeks. But really, like the safe time is like it starts to get around 3 weeks. That's when you want to look at remaking your cultures. So then you just make up some more potatoes, sprinkle a little bit of yeast on there. And there are people that do it without yeast, but the way that they grow and they culture and they multiply is when you add the yeast, the bacteria that feeds off of that yeast is what actually will feed your banana worms to kickstart them off. From the best of my understanding, from a non-scientific perspective. So I add the yeast because what can hurt? I've got it because I use it for so many different things. So it's also, you could feed it to Daphnia if you don't have green water. Green water is not a necessity for culturing Daphnia, but at this point I can culture so much green water outside that I'm not feeding them yeast. A thing to remember with Daphnia is they multiply every 7 days. So from the time they're born to a week later, they're mature, and they usually have about 10 babies. So if you start off with 10 of them, a week from now you'll have 100 of them. So it's important to keep that in mind. One, for making sure you have enough area for them, so you're not crashing it out due to like ammonia spikes and whatnot. But 2, you have to remember that a week later you're feeding 10 times the amount of Daphnia that you were trying to feed the week before. So if you were putting in just a little pinch the week before, and that was quote unquote sufficient, that little pinch is probably not going to be sufficient for 10 times that amount. And that's when you look at the clarity of water. When the water gets clear, they need to be fed. When it's cloudy, there's usually still food for them to eat. But now that Ed's back, I'll shut up about live foods.
I appreciate it, man.
So I have a question. Since that part's done, what do you do next to cure it?
Nothing. I let it just dry because it's still all watery.
Yeah,
and all the water evaporates off of it, and then it all gets real tight. Because like this one was done earlier, well, like 2 weeks ago. And this was originally my test subject because the head was broken. And then I found that they use some type of putty at the factory on the inside that I don't think is fish tank safe. So I was really surprised that Walmart did that. But it just like, it was all bumpy. All these were bumpy, but as it dried, it just gets real tight to the skin.
Okay.
And it's a plastic, so because Krylon Fusion is plastic, so basically it's just going to come on real tight to it.
I'm going to pull a Rico stand and interrupt you since he's not here to do it. Sorry, Ed, I got to interrupt you here. Mike's Aquatics and Things did gift 5 Chattanooga Ed memberships. A huge thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Man, my account is going way up with memberships. It's awesome.
It is. A lot of people also were congratulating you on breaking that 2,000 subscriber milestone. Congrats on that.
Thank you so much, guys. That was pretty awesome. It took me forever, but I finally did it.
HD Canteen gave you a $2 super sticker with that Hey You exercise pair jumping around, waving high.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
The
Really
HD
do, guys.
Canteen also gave you another $2 super sticker with the big red thumbs up.
Awesome. Well,
And Rat Cross. Well, I got one more here. Rat Cross Studio with the $5 super chat said Skipper's Honorarium.
You know, Rack is so cool. He gave me another project to do too. He gave me a blank ukulele. He gave me lessons on the ukulele. And so now I know how to hold it so I can start to learn. He showed me where C was because I know very basic piano. Okay, all I can do is the Mexican hat dance. Like I asked him, do you know the piano? And he like starts playing something awesome, like Amazing Grace or something. It's like, well, I'm not going to do the Mexican hat dance. So I decided not to do that. But he still showed me how to hold it with your hand up against it. And I'm trying to debate if I should do a Cthulhu theme or a fish theme. But it's super cool. Oh, thank you so much, Mississippi. Mississippi Hippie just said, congratulations on my 2002. You know, and Nico, he's coming back. I really owe a big thanks to Nico. I shot some shorts of Nico, and the first shorts that I shot of him got me like 25 subs and 15 subs. And so now I am a short cat video channel and a fish channel. We'll put out one cat video a day and to keep my cat people from not quitting because I don't want them to quit my channel. But and if you're a cat person and you've enjoyed the content tonight, we enjoy you. And look, we got cats all over the place. So
we do.
It might be a fish show, but it's also a cat show.
I'm going to grab some stuff real quick from the chat. Cruncho Halfmoon said, if you want to kickstart vinegar eels in a gallon jar, 50-50, tried to jump, ACV water, add cheap beer, just one bottle. Do open the beer to vent 24 hours and add a gallon jar afterwards. BE starter apple. So yeah, the issue is I don't drink any beer. So I would have to go out and buy a 6-pack of beer just to do that, though. That is great advice, and I appreciate you sharing that. But what I did on that and pretty much all of my cultures is I took my starter. I made several cultures with a regular dose. And then I pretty much kept about half of that starter that was given to me and started another culture with that one that had a lot more of whatever it was, vinegar eels, banana worms, etc. So I had one that had a lot more significant yield a lot sooner that I could start feeding from, while the others were kind of getting up to speed. So that's another trick you can do, is instead of splitting it all out evenly, is you could do one with about 50% of your starter, depending upon how much starter you get. And that one's going to be ready quicker, if not almost immediately, while your others are getting prepped up. Big Shrimpin', I started to message you, but I'll just say it here. If you send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, whichever is easier for you, Facebook, I respond to quicker because I can find it. I'm Fisherman Fever on all the things. I really appreciate that offer, and I will send you my address.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos, for the $1.09, or was it $1.99 or
$4.99.
$4.99 sticker? And you know what? I can't see the sticker. Can you see it? You can see it.
It's a good job. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He said it's the good job one where he's throwing a thumbs up at you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Carlos. You're awesome, man. I really, really do appreciate it a lot. It'll help me pay for the paints that I blew tonight. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not upset about buying a lot of paints. I'm just upset that it didn't work. Such a drag. Oh my gosh. So folks, hopefully next time it'll come out better. And Scuba, will this work, or do you need me to try something else for your skull? Let me know.
All right, Ed, get your hand signals ready here. You ready? Bunny Viper in the chat here said, "Dang it, James, hush, I'm releasing a video tonight. Don't cry, Bunny Viper." And I would suggest, I'm assuming that goes to probably the banana worms. That might be about the vinegar eels. But honestly, I would suggest anybody that's looking into any of those, watch a lot of videos. Don't just watch my videos, which aren't even out yet.
I
don't
have
just
one
watch
already.
Corey's video. Don't just watch Wild Fish Tanks. Which, by the way, these are all great resources. Aquarium Co-op, Wild Fish Tanks, Ryan did videos on them. Bentley Pasco's got videos on them. I would watch a dozen videos because there's so many different ways to do it, and you can take bits and pieces. Like I said, you've got people that use yeast, people that don't, people that use oats, people that don't, that use mashed potatoes. So I would still encourage everybody to check out Bunny Viper's video when it drops tonight, and use that as kind of the starting point.
Well, I did Walter worms, but the same as micro and banana worms. I use bread and milk, and it smells like beer when fermenting. It doesn't smell like death, and so that's why I like to use that setup. I made that a long time ago. Boy, I bet you 2 years ago. Well, you know what? It's so weird. It feels like James and I have been doing this for 10 years, and he just said that tonight was our 3-year anniversary or about on it. Doesn't it seem like we've been around a lot longer than 3 years?
Oh, you have actually.
Maybe we just haven't been doing it like really cool, organized on his channel.
Or so you talking about 3 years of doing the craft ed, or just stream?
Like how James and I do our Thursday night organized stream.
Any of it. So my first video on Fish Room Fever, because I was around on YouTube under my other name and just my generic viewer name, but my first video was published September 17th of 2019.
That makes sense. Yes. So it's
bizarre.
pretty much 4 years. It does feel like it's 3.
Well,
huh.
Yeah,
It feels
19
longer.
to 20, 20 to 21, and 21 to 22.
Yeah.
But yeah. It feels a lot longer. I was like, wait, it's going to be my 4-year anniversary. I'm like, no, that's 3 years. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think when I first put a video out.
And I was making videos just to win stuff with the aquatic box, or the fish tank box.
Aquarium box.
My aquarium box.
Mm.
I was making videos, and my aquarium video to ever win like the mega prize. They always pick 2 every month, and it was Rack Cross won also. And so Rack and I both won at the same time, which was really cool because then I got to learn more about Rack. And I had met Rack probably 2 years before that, and he just didn't know it because I didn't tell him who I was. But I remember seeing him. I saw him in New York, and I just waved at him. But it was pretty cool. But then The next time I won, like 8 months later, I won when Sean Peck won. So Tennessee boys winning twice in a row with each other.
Yeah. Now, you did have Xanadu gifted another 5 Chattanooga Ed memberships.
Oh my gosh. I wonder how many members I have now. You guys are like doing me up crazy. Oh, and if my Uncle Bruce and Aunt Donna are there, hi guys.
Hi, Uncle Bruce. Hi, Aunt Donna. The Zen Ginger dropped the link for Bunny Viper's channel, and Bunny Viper clarified that is going to be a video dropping tonight on Daphnia.
Oh,
I would
nice.
recommend checking it out because, again, there are a lot of different ways. You see people with no air, people with air, feeding different ways. I will say, and if you don't believe me, Trust Aquarium Co-op. Green water is not an essential. You don't have to have it. It gives you a leg up and lets you cheat. It makes it easier. But if you can't culture green water or you don't feel like it, you don't have to have it. You can go the yeast feeding method, which is what I'll eventually have to go to once I propagate enough of it. So check out Bunny Viper's video, and I'm going to check it out because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Do we
Most
want to
definitely.
do? See, you can see it. It's starting to get tight to the thing. I don't know. It's not super fancy pants. I don't know. Does anybody even want this?
I would put a hashtag in for it.
Okay. Well, James, do you know how to set those up?
I love you, Ed. You ask me every week when I have to set it up. Yeah, buddy, I can set it up again.
Oh, awesome.
He does.
Well, last week, I didn't know if you'd be there Friday or not because you're a pretty busy guy. So I had Rico Stan set it up for me before the stream, and I accidentally turned it off 3 times. And he explained to me how to set it up, and I still forgot a week later.
Let me get my chat back real
cool.
quick. I'm going to throw the hashtag in there. We got lots of people saying they want it. You want it. Enter hashtag dipped, D-I-P-P-E-D. Any specific rule? Oh, now
Awesome.
the Dead's frozen. He's taking a nap. Oh, now he's back. Continental United States, worldwide, shipping to Mars. What?
Yeah, I think I can ship it anywhere, really. It's a pot. It's not pot. It's a pot. So I think it should be legal to send anywhere.
Yeah, I think you'd be all right.
And
Oh, yeah, legal. I just wasn't
what we'll
sure if you
do
wanted
is
to
I'll
pay.
need your email or your address, and I'll try to get it out. Like the fish I've been saving because I want to get a full group shot of them when I'm all done.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe once I get this, the wood things all done, I'll get it all together. Poor Jimmy P. If he wins, he'll have to wait till 2038. I've been promising him some of my swordtail guppies, and I don't have the proper stuff to ship. So, and I was hoping to get it for my birthday, and it didn't happen. But I still need to do that, and I'm so sorry, Jimmy P. I had somebody's help once, and it was somebody local here in town. It wasn't Bob, and the fish still died, and I was just sending them to Iowa. So I'm really paranoid.
Well, you're pretty crafty, and the way that I've been receiving them is with styrofoam on all the sides and on the bottom, and on the top, and then just the packing paper that they use. People use insulation. That insulation, like that blown in stuff, it's really messy though. The packing paper seems to work pretty good.
Well, my biggest, you see, my fingers are real big, so I'm terrible at rubber bands. That's why I want a heat sealer. And I want to do it just like Dan and do 1 fish per bag also. Make them cool. Oh my gosh, Liquid Zoo, you didn't have to do that. Matt from Liquid Zoo, he took most of his memberships away, and instead he's buying memberships for like groups of people, which is super nice of him. So I don't expect you to do that. But thank you so much, buddy.
He said that his wife yelled at him because the kitty was gone whenever he types.
Oh. You know what? I actually love that. I respond to all my shorts, and for these cat people, they get to see Nico. So they probably really think I'm a really real cat person. But yeah, it is kind of neat. I like that thing, or that cat image on there. For sure. But let's see, we've got 4.5 minutes. Let's give it another 30 seconds, and then we'll say our goodbyes, and we'll call it another week. And unfortunately, not all crafts are successful. But honestly, I think the Scuba Steve skull still looks pretty creepy and cool.
It came out pretty good.
I mean, that looks pretty cool. The back is a little bizarre in that right there, but you'll probably have it a little away. And I can see maybe he has like some little ciclets that'll go in and out through the eyes. That'll be pretty cool.
Somebody did ask earlier where you picked that skull up.
Oh, this is a Walmart. They're $9.99 at Walmart. And like I say, be careful. I bought this one and it was already broken and it had fake putty, like a putty holding it together on the insides. And I don't think it's tank safe. So this, I think, is going to be a paintbrush holder for me.
That's good.
Once the show's done. Otherwise, I'd get that. What was that?
Draw here?
Yeah, can we share screen?
Absolutely. Just wanted to make sure before I popped it up there. And
oh, Sky Dancer, thank you so much for saying it's a great stream. I can't wait to watch it and see how it how it went. I hope I wasn't talking over you guys the whole time. And then
I was trying to just hit pauses.
Okay. Well, I was trying. Oh, here we go. Oh, got so close. Jenny Lynn.
Jenny Lynn.
Congratulations.
Oh, awesome. Well, Jenny, you've got we're Facebook friends, I'm pretty sure. So just send me your address and I'll ship this guy out to you. Awesome.
Can I do a shameless, actually it's shameful, plug real quick? Because I know I had promised this to people and they had asked about it. Let me remove that. I'm going to share it. So I broke my Teespring YouTube connection, so it's not showing my stuff anymore there. It'll probably fix in a day or so. But I had promised people I was coming out with a new shirt to replace the old FRF shirt.
I was wearing that today.
I did get that live, so it is now available. I got to go back into share now that I got rid of the other. Itch tab. Boom. This is a new one. This is what we replaced it with.
Oh, wow.
We added the ask me about my fish tank. It's still got the logo because people like the logo. Zen and I went back and forth on not doing a logo, but the most popular thing out of my Teespring is my shirt with just the logo. So I'm like, we got to keep the logo. People like it. So again, I'm going to get rich. I do make $1.56 off of these when you buy them. So it's not 49 cents anymore. I upped it to make another buck. But I do appreciate you all because I've got, although Teespring decided to wait, let me get back to here so I can take it off of there. But I put in a request to get paid on the 2nd, and they're supposed to pay me tomorrow. They're a little bit behind. Remove from string. There we go. But that's going to be huge and helpful because I'm going to go out and buy some brine shrimp and some pieces I need for some video projects that I'm putting together for you all. So a huge thank you to you all that have hit the merch up, and there is a discount for my members on there. Which, if you're a member of Ed's and not mine, you could always shoot me a message and I'll send you the discount code.
For sure, that's awesome. Today, I had a lady at the Hobby Lobby say, "Fish room fever." I said, it's a great YouTube channel. And she just laughed at me and kept walking. But I have a video I've made. It's a really short one with Rack. And I should have done a much more amazing one because his art's awesome and everything. But I just had too much fun enjoying Rack than to think about videotaping Rack and sharing it with you guys. But I've got a short one of Rack that I'll be putting out as soon as I can figure out how to put the things at the bottom of the page in the description, the link. I don't quite know how to do that. But I just saw Rack joined my membership, and I've been forgetting about this today. Awesome. the Nico membership growl.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Rack. And I owe Rack a lunch too. So when he comes down here, I was thinking maybe I can buy him lunch and take him to the movie, or not the movie theater, to the aquarium. There's also, this doesn't really sound like fish related, but I want to see if anybody wants to go with me to a ice cream factory that gets free tours. I tried to get my dad to go today, and he was like, oh, I don't really want to walk through it and get ice cream. It's like, Dad, it would be fun to watch him make ice cream.
I've been through one, and it's actually is pretty neat.
Ah, see, we ate ice cream there because they have like a place where you get to buy ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad bought like a banana split that had 3 bananas in it. It was gigantic.
Wow.
I had a raspberry shake that was amazing. But guys, I've gone over. Thank you guys so much. I don't know who's going next, if anybody is. Guys, we'll catch you on the flip side in the next one. Thank you again, Skipper, so much for coming in and hanging out with us. Thank you, James, for always being awesome. Guys, thank you for the super chats. Mods, you guys are amazing. Everybody, thank you for letting me put on the show.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for having me here. And thanks to those of you in the chat that were saying they just got their merch this week. I appreciate you all. Skipper, thanks. Go check out Skipper's Aquariums. It is still Skipper's Aquariums, right?
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure. YouTube
Thanks.
channel link will be in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Thanks, Ed. Bye.